shit is wrong.
Right, fire.
Hey.
Album coming soon.
Well, my name is Ashley. I wrote a book called I Could Have Been Her from the city of Cleveland. The book is basically about a young lady that grew up in the project. She's actually a suburban project girl. And for y'all that don't know what a suburban project girl is, it's somebody that actually has lived in the suburbs and the projects, and she shares the medium that every girl ever wants, because you have girls that live in the projects that want to be suburban, then you have suburban girls that want to be project girls. So I, who is she, I share the medium of both. The book is about my life. It takes place the first 14 years. I'm in the process of writing the next 14 years. We'll pick up on chapter 14 from the age of 15 up until now. But the first book, it just talks about me not having a dad, me having a bad relationship with my mom. I got abused as a child, mentally, physically, emotionally, and sexually. I was touched by two of my cousins. One was a man and one was a woman. It talks about me going through racism in life, not just by white people, but my own people. And what I had to deal with going to school, being bullied, and like it talks about a lot. It talks about a lot of things that are that goes on in black households that nobody talks about. And the fact that a lot of things that we go through as melanin people, people always try to tell you the past is the past, but the past really affects your present and your future. And if you don't correct those things or try to fix them, they can really eat you up and you can become a very horrible person.
That's real.
It definitely is real. One thing that I would want to say was when I was listening to your book, because I would listen to it when I was Ubering. But I felt that, like, I grew up in Bedford, and then I spent time in Macedonia, and I be with my cousins in the inner city of Cleveland, and sometimes I sometimes never felt like I fit in some of my surroundings.
They throw that white card on you.
They
with your white ass. Like, I'm known in my family as white girl Ashley.
I couldn't even hang
Is there a
out.
black Ashley in the family?
No, my cousin has a friend. So the funny part about it is, both our names was Ashley. We all kicked it. Yeah. So to separate us, they call me White Ashley and they call me Black Ashley. They call her Black Ashley. So still to this day, my great auntie will call my cousin. She be like, Ashley said, hey, she like, which one, white or black Ashley? But they threw that white card on me, and it was like, it was hurtful for a while, because it was like, I'm nowhere near white, because I have proper grammar, because I know how to speak to people in different settings. Like, yeah, I bullshit here with y'all and cuss, but when I'm in the setting, where I need to show who I really am, you would never know that I grew up in the projects. And just by looking at me, you would never know that I grew up there. So it's just a sense of, I believe that people put me on that pedestal because you believe white people are superior. Whereas I don't believe that. I believe I'm superior as a melanin woman. So the fact that I had to deal with racism from my own kind, like I was in first grade. I went to Mary Sterling, and it was this girl, and she was this blackest girl, and I think she is the reason why I didn't like black people. And when I say black people, meaning darker colored people, where I preferred to be with a light skinned man. Didn't like dark dudes for a long time. And then the guy that molested me, he was darker than me as well. So that created a stigma and a picture of self-hate in itself. So she pulled my hair, like, I was like, hello, my name is Ashley. People like, fuck, like, you don't speak Ebonics, you don't speak slang. I'm like, what? I don't know what that is. So it was, she really fucked me up To this day, if I ever catch you, bitch, I'm gonna beat you.
He got really body real quick. She said, if I ever catch you slipping.
If I ever catch you, and she
Revenge
knows
is
she
coming,
is,
ho.
It's
I'm
on
trying-
site.
I'm
Nah,
telling
what
you,
grade you said it was?
This was first grade.
Oh,
We was in
Mary Sterling.
Yes, baby. We was in this teacher named Miss Galvin. I'll never forget this black bitch. I swear to God, if I ever see her,
Bitch, she coming.
I'm coming for you, bitch.
2020 gonna be the year of
I'm
revenge,
gonna
huh?
beat the dog shit out your ass. With every fucking ponytail you pull, bitch.
She probably saved now.
I don't
She
give a-
probably
I ain't
went for the
saved.
secret.
That bitch, I ain't saved.
Nah, I'm talking about the girl.
I don't give a fuck if she is. Bitch, I ain't saved.
I don't forget what you did to me
I ain't
back
never
then,
You
right?
know, but you know, those experiences, you know, that
It
lets
shapes
you
you.
know, like it shapes you, you know.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time. Like my mother, she's a project bitch. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, you know, you gotta fight. And it was like, no, I don't want
I
to.
don't
wanna
Like
do
that's
that.
you know,
Yeah.
like why would I have to do that? And it took until I got to high school, you know what I'm saying, for me to come up out that shell. And when I came up out that shell, baby, you know, my brother was abusive to me because his dad was abusive to my mom. So in my own right, I became a victim of domestic violence, and I didn't even realize it because it was my brother. And I looked at it like, you know, brothers and sisters fight. But when you look at other people, you know, when you go into white households and you don't see brothers and sisters fighting like two niggas on the street. You don't see it, you know, the brother stealing on his sister because she said wash the dishes. You know, you don't see these type of things. So because in our culture it's accepted and you know, it's deemed okay to fight your brothers and sisters. No, you shouldn't allow that because as two sisters, you shouldn't fight. What are you fighting for? Why is y'all fighting like two bitches on the street? It should never get to that point. Like, where's the togetherness? So even in our households, we're segregated and we don't even realize it. And the fact that it's accepted, you know, nobody, like my mother didn't even realize that because she was a victim of domestic violence. So she didn't realize that my brother was really abusing me. And, you know, my brother was way bigger than me. Even though he's my little brother, that nigga every bit of 6 feet, 250. You upset 250 pounds. This is a big motherfucker. So I remember the first time he hit me in my face. You know, the rotary phones that had the little turn
Yeah.
thingy? He cracked me in my face with the receiver.
What the fuck?
That's what I'm saying.
Damn.
This nigga done pulled a knife out on me, all types of shit. And me coming from Hudson, Ohio, I have no idea how to defend myself.
Yeah.
So after a motherfucker, you know, coming at you with shit like this, you gonna learn to fucking defend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But when it was like I walked outside my house, I was alone. You know, I didn't have that support. I didn't have nobody there to uplift me. So I had to become strong on my own as a child. And I think that in its own right was fucked up because as a child, you're supposed to be a child. You shouldn't have to worry about becoming strong or learning how to be independent or, you know, having to take care of your siblings or, you know, just at the age of 6, you know what I'm saying? I've been taking care of myself since I was 6, literally. Like, I learned how to cook. I learned how to wash my clothes. I was helping my sister and my brother with their homework, you know. It was a lot of pressure on me. You know, so I jumped off the porch at 12. You know, I started smoking. I started fucking. You know what I'm saying? I started hustling. I started doing a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't because I was a promiscuous person or I was fast. It was just the fact that that was just the way my life was. You know, and I got to the point where it was just like, shit, I ain't got no daddy. You know, and when we was talking about earlier, you know, black women don't feel protected by the black men, and I've never felt protected, and I feel like that's a fucked up thing, because when you don't have a father, that's that protection. You're supposed to have a man in your life that's, you know what I'm saying, you call somebody, nigga, to knock you the fuck out. You're supposed to have somebody to call to come protect you or that you can feel that's going to take care of the situation. I never had that. I've always had to protect myself. So it just became, I had to throw on that protection cape. So I had to be a little bit more tougher than the average person. Plus I'm light skinned. So me being white Ashley, me being light skinned, and me being a female that never had a dad, it created a monster. So when that monster came, she was a bitch on wheels. and she was fucking up everything that came her way.
You're a little tornado.
I was the Tasmanian devil in human form. When I tell you, I was like, rah, rah, rah. It was clearly like that.
Yeah.
But I had to be like that because it was either I was gonna get prayed on or I was gonna do the praying. And in my house, I was praying. But outside doors, I was praying on every goddamn thing because you want coming and fucking with me.
Yeah.
So I had to get out of that. You know, I had to learn to break away from that situation. And it took a while. And it took me up until I was about 22 to realize I was a victim of domestic violence at the hands of my brother. So it's been a long road. Like, it's been some tough shit.
Yeah, no. So recovery's not immediate, but you definitely want to take the steps so that
Yeah.
we can heal from our traumas. Because I think, especially as melanated people, as you're saying, we don't necessarily say, you know, you should get therapy or you shouldn't really express how you feel to a degree, I guess, of knowing how to communicate effectively all the way, because we bottle a lot of things in, or we don't see our parents communicating the right way, so we don't know how to communicate, and it kind of continues a cycle. So I do.
But a lot of people, but like I told you earlier, a lot of people just want you to just sweep it under the rug. You know, a lot of people just don't. People like to say, like I tell people, you have to learn how to communicate. Like you're saying, you have to know, like, if me and you brothers and sisters, and you're my gay brother, you tore up my fucking tutu. This was a tutu that was sentimental value to me because you stuck your big ass in it. That shaped our, but that's what I said. It shaped our relationship. Yeah. So from then, that's where we gotta start at. So if this shit happened when I was 6 and you was 10, this fucked up our relationship, and everything from there is where it took off at. So you must confront these people, and wherever the fuck the pain started, you gotta check it then. You gotta start it from then. You know, don't ever let people tell you, oh, that's the past, just let it go. No, because the past is what affects your future, and affects it affects your present and your future. So if you're going to sit up here and just say, oh, well, I don't like her. Why don't you? And then you gotta sit back and analyze, well, damn, why don't I like this bitch? And I don't like her because, you know what, then you think about it like, damn, when we was 10, you know, she did this, or when we was 9, she did this. You know what I'm saying? And all of these different things shaped who you are because it made you be different, because it made you realize, well, damn, I can't be nice to people, or I can't let my brother get in my makeup or my tutu. So stay the fuck out my tutus.
If I look good, I'm on the way. My ass looking fat. I got the Nikki alone.
No, sis. I feel you though, because I'm sitting here thinking about like all the times that when I was in school, I used to get picked on all the time, like, and I never used to do nothing. Then in my adult life, she's so proud. No, for real, I'm really not. Like, I never got into a fight. Like, not with outside people. Maybe in my family, but you know, it was a fight, but then whatever. But to this day, this girl in my adult life, I still got an issue with her. Like, I feel like even if she say something slick right now, I want to fuck her up. Like, and I tell my sister all the time, like, I don't understand why I'm still mad. But on my drive home by myself, I just came to reasoning, like, it's because you never stood up to them girls that used to be in your face, that used to taunt you every day, that used to, you know, like, I got teased so bad one time, I shaved one of my eyebrows off. Because they, like, one of them is thicker than the others. Right, for real, because it's just like, they used to make fun of my thick eyebrows, they used to make fun of my thick lips, they used to make fun of my size.
Like, just know they all want it.
That's what I learned. That's what I learned in high school, and it's just like, you know, that bothered me. It bothered me that bad that I wanted to change myself.
But that's self-hate, and you allowed them to, like, my natural hair color is honey blonde. You know, I was a lot fairer skinned than I am now, and I had honey blonde hair, and I was tall. I called myself a Tweety bird. I had a big ass head. I was like no more. I had a skinny body with big ass feet. I've been wearing a size 10 since I was 10. You know what I'm saying? So people would bother me about my feet, you know, say, oh, you got big feet, you know, so it made me become self-conscious. So I don't wear, even still to this day, I don't wear certain shoes because I don't like for my feet to look long because I'm a girl. Because I, you know what I'm saying, I wear 11 now. So it's like, I don't want my feet to look big because I still feel self-conscious in a way. You know, I didn't have an ass. You know what I'm saying? I had big boobs. I was in fucking 5th grade, and the rest of these bitches ain't had no titties, but I was the only girl in 5th grade with titties. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was so many things that people taunted me about that I had to learn to become comfortable about. Like, I wanted a flat stomach. Now, when I look back at these pictures, it wasn't like the flattest, definest stomach, but the bitch was flat, and my dumb ass sitting up here this whole time, sitting there wishing for some shit I had. Now I can't get rid of this bullshit, and I'm mad to the motherfucker.
Dr. Miami always ready.
Look, baby, I'm about to get me a mommy makeover real soon. Fuck this shit.
Like shit.
But you know, self-hate, I talk about that in my book a lot. Self-hate was something that played a very big part on me. And you know, when I was 10, I cut my hair for the first time. I cut all my hair off. I had naturally long curly hair, and my hair came like to my bra strap. And I hated my hair because my mother was still making me wear ponytails in the 5th grade. Everybody else got they one little ponytail with their fans and shit. Yeah. And you got me going to school with goddamn ponytails, and these bitches riding the fuck out my ass and shit. I said, bitch, you know what? Fuck this shit. She gave me some braids one time. I cut them bitches off. She came home. She said, the fuck your rest of your hair at? All she said was bow. I'm like, oh shit. It was like the motherfucking bell. You ever seen a bell get done run? Yes. And that bitch was, at the time my motherfucking head was doom. Like smack dog shit out of me. Yes. And then my hair had grew back. And then it was just like, I don't like this. You know, and I tried to change so much about me so young. That's why I have the point of views that I have about certain things, because I know what certain influences did to me. Mm-hmm. So I can only imagine what they do to children now. And I was prohibited. Like me and her damn near basically had the same childhood where we couldn't watch certain things. So we were prohibited from certain things, and these things shaped me and altered me. I can only imagine what the fuck a nigga in a dress gonna do to a 3-year-old. You know what I'm saying? I even went through a stage where I had to question my own sexuality because I would have sex with guys as a teenager, but they wanted me to touch their penises, and I'd be like, that's nasty. Like, I don't want to touch that. Like, I couldn't even, seriously.
Penises are nasty looking.
I mean, but it took me up until I got in my 20s to understand why I didn't want to. You know, it took me a long time to understand why I had these issues. And it was because I was molested. And it was his form of molestation. So, and then I never spoke about the girl until I was like 26. You know, I never told anybody about that because that was just some shit I was embarrassed about. And that was just some shit that I was just like, you know, I ain't gonna talk about that. But these certain things left demons with me. That it was like, you gotta get rid of it. You gotta get rid of this shit. Like you said, we bottle shit up. And I was a person, with me being a Cancer, me being emotional as hell. See, I'm not emotional now. But as a kid, I was a fucking crybaby. I was so emotional. And I bottled a lot of shit up. And I kept a lot of shit in. And that's what fucked me up. So, as time just went on, it was just like I had to figure out, you know, why did I start having sex early? You know, why did I start smoking weed early? You know, and these were my ways to cope with things. And it was just a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really went through a whole lot of shit, like a heap of shit. And I just had to figure my way out. So, it was hard.
Gotcha. Is that what made you write your book?
Believe it or not, I have been wanting to write an autobiography since I was 7.
Really?
I hadn't even started. I seriously.
Did you know what an autobiography was back then? Mm-hmm. You did. Oh, shit,
I knew it was. I knew autobiography was about a person's life, but it was like, damn, bitch, you ain't even got no life yet.
Right.
But you knew.
But she was like, bitch, I gotta create this.
You know what I'm
thing."
saying? But I remember the book. I had started off like, my name is Ashley Grayson. My mom is such and such. My dad is such and such. You know, I go to John D. Greber Elementary School. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had always been into writing. But my mother's husband, he was an abusive man. And he was the type of guy that he would go in my room and he would tear up my clothes. He would tear up my toys. He would search through my room. So one day he found one of my notebooks. And whatever I wrote in this notebook, he told my mother. And I got in trouble about it. And I always longed for a dad. So me never having a dad, I think that's something that I always wrote about. And he was intimidated by my father. And my father was in Mansfield Correctional Facility. So how the hell you intimidated by a nigga that's doing a 10-year bid? You understand what I'm saying? So it was just, once he found that discouraged me from ever writing again. Like, I didn't write again until I was in high school, because I realized that if I didn't write it on paper, you never knew how I could feel. And then when I would share, you know, I would tell my mother, like, you know, well, I don't like this, you know, I don't like what you're doing, or I feel like this. She would use this shit against me. And she would always tell my business. So me keeping everything in here was just a protection for me. Because I believe, like, how the fuck you gonna tell somebody my business? You know, you tell me what stays on in our house, whatever goes in our house stays in our house. But yet alone, you get on the phone with your bitches and you can gossip about my personal business or how I feel about something, or try to put me on blast, or try to throw something in my face. So I never expressed that shit ever again. And even still to this day, like, that shit fucked up our relationship. And she wonders why, you know, like, well, why can't we be cool? You know, you dwelling on the past. The past is what fucked up our future. You know, and the fact that you don't want to accept the shit you did, it will never get better. So, prime example, I was 14 and our house got invaded. Her ex-girlfriend and her son and his best friend had kicked our door in. And I came home to a bloody mess. And when I came home, it looked like somebody had just, like I said, invaded our house. That's why the 14th chapter is called Home Invasion.
I wonder what that was.
Yeah, it's called Home Invasion because they kicked in our door because she moved on. She had got a new girlfriend, and her and the old girlfriend and new girlfriend got into a fight. This was like a Saturday at a birthday party we had at the house. That Monday, they came and kicked our door in to whoop old girl's ass. My mother got hit in the head with a golf club. It was blood everywhere. It was just, shit was crazy. You know, my mom was using drugs. We got taken from her. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it was just a lot. You know what I'm saying? So, shit was wild. And, you know, that led me to be more independent.
I'm sure.
You know, and I had to become independent at a very early age. And when I turned 15, it was like, shit, I gotta get financially dependent because she wasn't dependable. And with her not being dependable,
you gotta depend on someone.
My point is
yourself.
And I ain't got no daddy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't no man in my life saying like, shit, baby, I got you. I'm gonna take care of you. No, it's none of that.
And I would say, I think actually, listening to you talk about your stepfather or your mom boyfriend. I'm sorry. At the time, I'm saying I think that he might have even been intimidated by your birth father just due to the fact that
he
was another man just even thought about in the home of.
He was a coward in his own right. And the fact, what he fucked up me and my brother's relationship. And he fucked up me and my brother's relationship with telling my brother, that ain't your sister. You ain't gotta listen to her. So in my brother's mind, over time, that manifested. And he really thought that when we would get into fights, bitch, you ain't my sister. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck you mean?
Who am I?
Nigga, we look damn near just a fucking night. What the fuck you mean? My mother came home one day. This motherfucker tried to throw me down the flight of steps. Okay, like we got into a fight. Me and my baby sister jumped him in the kitchen and beat his ass with pots and pans.
Y'all was having a real ass war in this damn house, right?
And we beat his ass because he got mad at me because I popped her ass for not doing some shit, and he stole on me, literally stole on me. Me and him get to fight, and my sister run in the kitchen like, "Don't hit my sister!" And she clap his ass for something. Then we get upstairs, and this nigga try to throw me down a flight of steps. It's at least 10 or 12 steps.
Oh my gosh.
I flipped his big ass. I took his leg and I flipped him, and I just got on top of his head and I just got to fucking him up. But we kicked a hole into my mama's wall, so by the time she came home, shit, man, look, it was natural for her to come home and have a hole or two in the wall. She was like, "You bitches been in here fighting. You bitches is crazy.
Not fucking up my damn house."
I'm whooping all y'all ass. Shit, that nigga hit me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like she didn't look at it like he was abusive because she had been abused, and this was her only
She's
son.
probably looking like it's normal.
That's what I'm
The
saying.
cycle of it continuing. How is your relationship with your brother now? If you don't mind me asking.
That's a touchy topic.
Is it still a work in progress?
I'm gonna say it's still a work in progress. We have had a talk. He's in jail. We had a talk last year where, you know, he actually apologized to me.
How was it?
And we had a long talk, and he said, you know, Ash, he was like, "I would never ever disrespect you like that again, or ever put my hands on you like that." And that really meant a lot to me because that was like some type of closure for me. And you know, we have our moments where we up and down because, you know, he's a moody motherfucker. He's an Aries. So I'm a water sign and he's fire. So we either gonna start some shit or I'm gonna put you out. You know what I'm saying? So it's an up and down thing. But, you know, he knows genuinely, you know, that was my first best friend. I love the fuck out of my brother, and that's the only brother I got. And if anything ever happened to him, a nigga gonna have to see me about it. No matter what we ever went through, that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? So the love that I have for him is purely unconditional because I know that he wasn't taught right. You know, so I don't fault him for it. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm 29. He'll be 26. He'll be 27 because I'll be 30. 3 years apart. He'll be 27 in April. You know, so now, if he hit me, you know, now you know the difference.
Yeah.
You know, now you know that shit ain't okay. See, now I'm gonna have to fuck you up, and now I'm gonna give you something. You gonna leave with something this time, nigga. You gonna leave with a scar. You gonna leave with a bullet wound. You gonna leave with something to give you the recognition like this bitch crazy.
Just getting hit with a pan.
Oh, fuck the pan.
Right.
We pass pans. We pass pots and pans. Now, bitch, we moving to bullets and motherfucking
Gashes, right? Open wounds.
You gonna have a scar, nigga.
Right.
Right. We'll have a reminder not to fuck with me.
Right.
To look at.
Listen. So, you know, but over the years, though, it was just a lot, you know, and a lot of my relationships with people got messed up because people like what you can do for them, and people will misuse you. Everybody gets used, but people misuse you, and people are jealous of you, and they don't even know why. You know, but if you really knew what it took to live in these size 11s, to survive in these motherfuckers, you wouldn't even want to be in these shoes. Because you're not even as strong as me to even deal with the shit I done had to deal with and to endure. Because the shit I done endured, I got to tell motherfuckers all the time, I'm supposed to be in a motherfucking corner smoking an 8-ball. And I'm dead ass serious because the shit that I've been through has really been mind breaking. But ain't none of that shit broke me. And people be fucked up to me all the time. Like, I'm going through it's probably one of the hardest times of my life right now. But people will never know it. Because I don't show that shit.
Yeah.
But if I really told you, you would be like, damn. Like, I wrote a paper in 10th grade. 10th or 11th grade. And the girl read it. She said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Bitch, what the fuck you talking about? Bitch, I'm alright." And she was like, "But this was deep." She was like, "This is a lot." She was like, "How the fuck?" And then that just made me realize, like, mentally where I was at. Like, I'm a lot stronger than the average person. So that's why I sent you the book, because like everybody was like, You know, what is it about? I can't tell you what it's about. You know, you just gotta read the damn book, and you gotta see it. You know, and everybody, well, where does the title "I Could Have Been Her" come from? The original title of the book was supposed to be called "The Miseducation of Ashley," because I feel like I didn't have a teacher, and I feel like I was misguided. But I changed it because I didn't want to be converted to Lauryn Hill, the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So I was sitting around like, damn, what the fuck am I gonna call this book? And then I like Lock Up, and Lock Up is basically a TV show about people that's in jail. And when you watch it, especially the women part, they relate to me. They've been molested, they've been raped. You know, they've been through the same situations I've been through. So her is a statistic. Her could have been a whore, her could have been a prostitute, her could have been anybody. So I could have been her. I could have been out here strung the fuck out, fucked up out here. I could have been, you know, just fucked up a fucked up individual because I wasn't strong enough to endure my demons and not let them get me. You know what I'm saying? So it's a deep ass book. Part 2 is even deeper.
Now, when do you think part 2 will be finished all the way? I know you did mention earlier. I'm sorry.
Part 2, Lord.
Yes.
I'm damn near done with part 2.
Okay.
I'm on chapter 24. Ooh. But the last 5 chapters of this book is so emotional for me because the past 5 years of my life I have been going through some real shit. So it's really hard for me to finish up these last 5 chapters because my oldest son's dad, he was domestically abusive to me. So that in its own right, you know, that's a lot to deal with. And it's just hard to even express this shit of how I feel and what I'm going through right now because it's still going on. And I'm trying to find my way to do it little by little because I need this shit done before April because I have a self-love event that I have to get prepared for. And then every year I have a Mother's Day brunch to bridge the gap between mothers and daughters because I have a bad relationship with my mom. So I have to get this shit done, but it's just taking me some time.
I think, like you said, you have to make sure you're processing everything that you've gone through, but still just be able to tell your story in the right way. So
I'm not an emotional person. I'm a very logical person. So I want to give logic, and I don't want to be emotional about it, and I don't want to be spiteful, and I don't want to be nasty about it or petty. I just want to give the facts. So it's hard to talk about.
I want to cry so bad. Like for real, but some in me like she don't want to see you cry.
What you crying for?
Right.
Because it's just like you touching me right now. Like, it's just like
I mean,
I want to just go into your past and be like, who hurt you? This is some bullshit.
I mean, you know, most people be like, I want to cry, but it's like, don't cry. Like, I cried enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't nothing for you to cry about. This shit is done. It's over with. Like, I ain't cried about this shit. Like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying?
I dealt with it.
That's what I'm saying. I dealt with this shit. Even the shit that I have going on now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know what? And I'm gonna just talk about it since we talking about it. I had my first child when I was 24. So this is an early preview.
Hey.
I had my first child when I was 24. I met my oldest son's dad at a block party. I met him a couple weeks after my 23rd birthday. We didn't start talking. We started talking, I found out he had a girlfriend. And I stopped talking to him. We got back talking in like October. And then December, I found that I was pregnant. But it was like, I had ended up moving in with him because I started working for the Board of Education. And I was trying to get my permanent position because I was working as a sub. And my mother put me out. So it was basically like, he was like, fine, you stay here, whatever. And it was just like, one day he woke up like, I don't want to do this no more. And I'm like, the fuck? Like, who does shit like that? So, January, I find out I'm pregnant. So I end up calling him like, shit, I take a pregnancy test at Chipotle bathroom. So I'm like, because I just came back out of town with an old nigga and shit.
Yeah.
So I went out of town and shit, and I'm like, man, my motherfucking period ain't came. Like, something ain't right. Because I didn't even think I could have kids. Because I had been on birth control for so long. And like I said, I done had sex unprotected, all types of shit, and it ain't never happened. So it was like, I didn't even think this shit could happen.
Yeah.
Shit.
I
I took that goddamn pregnancy test. I had to call a bitch with kids because I'm like, shit, what two lines in it?
Two lines.
He's like, shit, you fucked up. I said, what happened? What I do? I don't understand. So I called him. He came and got me, and he was just like, you know, what we gonna do? He was like, well, shit, you know, you get an abortion. I'm like, the fuck? Like, damn, like that's the first thing you say.
Right.
So my auntie's son was the person. My aunt raised me actually. Her son was the person that actually touched me when I was little. And she died when I was 19. That fucked me up too. And she had never came to me in my dream. She came to me in my dream. And it was so weird because we used to go in Macedonia to that Walmart, back when it was the old Walmart. Okay. And we would, the setting in the dream took place like, it was like fog, like a fog floor, and the whole entire family was there. And she told me, she said, Ashley, you come over here and you sit with me at my table with my family. And it was her husband, and her kids. And then the dream switched from that to us walking around Walmart. And I can't remember everything she said to me, but all I heard her say was, you gonna struggle. And once you're done struggling, you ain't gonna have to struggle no more. She said, he's my gift to you. So I was crying in my sleep. I felt myself crying in my sleep. And it was so crazy because I went to do this to her, like to take a picture with her. But the screen was black. Like the screen was black, and I went to take a picture with her, but she didn't pop up. Like I couldn't see her. Like I could only visually see her. But when I put the phone up, I couldn't see her. And it fucked my head up. So after that, it was just like, I'm keeping my baby. Now the ironic part about this is her birthday was July 27th. My son's original birth date was 9/7/14. My birthday is 7/9/90. So I thought it was pretty fucking ironic that our birthdays was damn near the same. But he ended up coming August 16th, and he's just. So I found that very significant. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck it. I'm like, nigga, I'm keeping my baby. Like, I'm not gonna kill my first child. Like, nigga, I didn't even think I could have these little motherfuckers. So this is what he's gonna be. So he finally got over it, you know, and I'm like, well, I ain't wait this long to be no goddamn single mama. So we gonna figure this shit out. So he like, all right. But as time went on, he became very disrespectful. And when you're dealing with a man and he starts off being verbally disrespectful, 9 times out of 10, he's going to become physically aggressive with you. And then I started seeing how he had mood changes. You know, one minute he was cool, the next minute, you know, and I felt like that was some weird shit. Yeah. Then I seen he was being disrespectful to his mom and his grandmother. So when you see a man being disrespectful to where he come from, he ain't going to have no respect for you. So as time go on, I have my son. We move in and we finally find us another place. He didn't help me, you know, it was just a lot. You know what I'm saying? And one day he had came home, this was actually on Halloween. He came home, he had been out all night. And I believe once you stop having sex with a man, like, the shit is over with. Okay, if we ain't fucking no more, he has to go. One of us gotta get the fuck out of here.
What's the point? Shit.
Say it again, bro. So my son had basically pushed him out the bed. My son went from sleeping in the bassinet to sleeping in the bed with me. And he had came in and he thought he was gonna take my son out the house. I said, motherfucker, you ain't taking my son nowhere. And he was like, you a stupid bitch. And he mugged me. And I had my son in my arms. And that was the first time he had ever touched me. Why the fuck did he do that? I don't even remember how the fuck I put my son down. All I remember is I have flashbacks. All I remember was having a flashback of my mama getting hit. And anytime I felt like I was walking in my mother's shoes, I would change my path and I would change my situation. all I remember was grabbing this nigga by his neck and just rushing him into a wall and just fucking him up. And I blacked out. And by the time I regained consciousness, we were in the living room. The fight went from the living room to the living room. By the time we got to the living room, I grabbed him by his throat again and I threw him on the couch and I just got to fucking him up. And then I seen an umbrella on the side of the couch. And I just got to cracking his ass with it. I blacked out again. By the time I regained consciousness, I got asthma. So at this point, we in the kitchen. I got tired. There was a black iron skillet on the table. I picked that motherfucker up and I swung it at him and he caught it. Then I went to find his pistol. When I realized he had that on him, I went for his knife. I went for a knife. Now I was about to cut this bitch. And then something in me said, stop. I didn't kill myself like that. And luckily I did, because had I not, I've been in jail still to this day. They chased him out the house just to get him out because I was tired. I went to yell out the window to tell him not to ever come back. Somehow his lights on his car flashed. I still don't know how this happened, but I'm happy that it did, because he pointed his gun up at the window. And had his car lights not flashed, he would have shot me. So after that, I ended up moving out the place that we was in because I couldn't afford it. So his mom had helped me get a place because, like I said, I don't have anybody in my corner that's supportive. So I'm 24, just had my first baby. I don't have supportive family, and I'm just out here trying to take care of my son. So she found me this little ran down ass apartment, and my goal was I wasn't living in nobody's project, so I paid my little $350, and it was just enough room for me and him, and I was satisfied with that. He went to social media to tell social media I never had a dad. I was trying to keep him from his son. You know, I mean, he really put a lot of my personal business out there, and that really, really was like humiliating and very embarrassing. So he started talking to this girl, and she wanted to comment on some shit. She should have. Eventually, we would meet. So he did all that shit. He stopped seeing my son for about 2.5, 3 months. And that hurt. That really hurt, because he was acting like a bitter bitch in my eyes, because I'm the one that's supposed to be like, you know, nigga, fuck you, this, but you're doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So that February, I started talking to this guy. We gonna call him Black. Now this is all in the second half of the book. So I'm gonna call him Black. I meet Black. I start kicking it with Black. Black like, shit, my phone was off one time. And he like, your baby daddy don't help you out like that? I said, nah, the nigga don't do shit. So this month, I had needed him to give me $200. He said, to keep him off child support, the agreement was for him to help me out with whatever I needed. Long story short, he came creeping past my house. He seen Black's car. He tried to kick my door in. He fucked up Black's car. He put a dent in Black's car. Kicked off his side view mirror, rear view mirror, fucking was on the outside. Kicked it off. They got into a fight. She just got out of hand. And then he still was combative with me. You know, he was still putting his hands on me when we would come into contact with each other. And I got tired of that shit. So, on and on for 5 years, he had been attacking me. And y'all
not even together at this point.
This is what I'm saying. So, 2.5 years, actually a year and a half, 2.5 years ago, actually almost 3 years ago, he had, I had lost my place because I had a Section 8 voucher, and my apartment failed its inspections. And what people don't tell you is when you have a Section 8 and your apartment fails inspections, the landlord, they cancel your contract, the landlord can put you out. They're supposed to let you stay until you find a place, but they basically legally put me out. So, they put me out. I didn't have a place to stay. I went to stay with my sister. She got to playing the hell out of crazy. We fell out. You know, it was just a bunch of dumb shit. My mother was trying to control me through her. She was trying to put me out of her apartment. You know what I'm saying? Just all types of shit. And this same little bitch that I've been there for her whole entire life. Like, I showed you how to be a woman. I gave you the blueprint. So how can you treat me like that? The one time I need you, this is how you treat me. So, he goes downtown and tell these white folks that I'm a drug addict. I abuse my son. He has never seen him. I taunt him with him, all types of shit. I started going to court for my son. It took me 2 years. From November 2017 up until February 12th of last year is when I stopped going. The shit stressed me out so bad. My son, my baby I just had, he was supposed to be born March 10th. I had him, I went in labor February 13th. I stopped going to court February 12th. I went in labor February 13th and had him on Valentine's Day.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So it was fucked up. So they couldn't find anything because, of course, I'm not abusive or anything to my son. And all they gave him is shared parenting. So September 29th of this year, I went to pick up my son. And his dad, once again, he attacked me. I asked to use the bathroom. He attacked me. He lied to the police and said I hit my son. So they took me to jail. I had never been to jail before. They took me to jail for burglary, domestic violence, and child endangerment. For 5 kids, I didn't even know when I was getting out of jail. I didn't even have a place because my ex-fiance, now mind you, my ex-fiance, I met him back in 2015. A couple months after I met Black, I met him. We just have been friends all these years. I finally decided to take the relationship further after 3.5, 4 years. He wasn't performing the way I needed him to. So I decided that we was gonna end the situation. He got mad and he put us out. He put me and my 2 kids out of our house. So that left us with nowhere to stay. And I went to pick up my son. His dad attacked me. We get into a fight. I called the police finally. And I've never, outside of that one time in the beginning, I never called the police. Call the police, and I'm the first person they call. So they normally say the first person they call is the person that don't go to jail. The police officer tells me specifically, the only reason why you're going to jail is 2 people got the same side story. But yet alone, my cousin, who's transgender, she is a girl, but she's turning herself into a guy. They were trying to be funny, like him, her thing, whatever, you know. She said she didn't know, but she told you everything that I just said. So I had to go to a staffing meeting. So these 2 done band up against me. But mind you, these 2 don't even get along. Me and my ex-fiance was actually about to jump my first son's dad Father's Day weekend of last year because he pulled tight on me. And I felt like I had to defend my children because you being too aggressive.
Yeah.
So they take me to jail. I don't even know when I'm getting the fuck out, but it was a detective. I was in there for 26 hours. The detective let me out. So I go to the staffing meeting, and they tell me I gotta take a drug assessment, mental health assessment. You know, motherfuckers talking about I'm crazy, all types of shit. I'm sitting here laughing at these motherfuckers. Cause they sit there like, oh, why you laughing? And I'm like, cause y'all bitches is funny. Like, you really funny. And to prevent me from becoming that Tasmanian devil, I gotta laugh at this shit. So they said, well, do you mind if your children, stay temporarily with their dads until you find a place? I said, fine. I said, because I have a place next week. Well, what they didn't tell me was they wanted to temporarily, on paper, place them with their dads. So they didn't tell me that. So when I went to try to see my baby, they tell me, his dad tell me, you can't see him because the social worker told me you gotta be supervised. But none of this is in this case plan. So at this point, I'm hot. I'm fucking livid because my baby at the time was 6 months. And I've never been without my children. So you basically bamboozled me and took my children away from me. So I go to court the first time for my kids November 1st. They tell me, you got a warrant for your arrest. What? Fuck you talking about?
Right.
They brought my kids temporarily to the county and tell me they taking me to jail because I got a domestic violence warrant. idea where this shit came from because, mind you, the detective let me out of jail. Everything was dropped. I'm in jail. Everything unfolds. October 11th, my oldest son's dad goes downtown and files and presses charges on me. So when I think about it, I said this motherfucking social worker told him to do this shit because the detective physically told me he had been trying to get in contact with him to investigate him and he couldn't. So if you in a situation where you fighting for your kids and this is the shit that you know for doing, doing all this weird shit, you're gonna do whatever the fuck it is that you think that these motherfuckers tell you to do. Why would you wait over 3 weeks after the fact to press charges on me? The shit happened September 29th. Why would you wait till October 11th? So they supposedly scheduled me a court date October 12th and sent the paperwork to my ex fiance's house. He didn't tell me. October 19th they issued a warrant for my arrest, and when I went to court November 1st they took me to jail. I got to deal on a personal bond that Monday. So I'm pissed. I'm extremely mortified. And at this time, I still hadn't seen my kids. Then this nigga had put my son on a temporary protection order, so I couldn't even see my oldest son. So I ain't seen my kids. I'm nutting up. I'm depressed. I'm mentally fucked up at this point. So they tell me I gotta go to what's called an intensive outpatient class because I smoke weed. So they say you gotta go to an intensive patient out care class for 6 weeks. Then you gotta take a clinical class. Then you gotta take a domestic violence class. So they say the kids can't come back home until you do all this shit. So I started my intensive outpatient class on December 9th. I took 2 classes at once. I started my that class on the 9th and I started the parenting class on the 10th. At that other time I was refusing to do the domestic violence class because I didn't feel the need to take it. So I'm still taking that shit. But this is just what I'm going through. I'm still going to court. On the 9th, February 19th will be the last day that I have to go to court for the criminal part because finally went to court and she finally asked a big question. Why the fuck do you keep standing in front of me? So when I tell her I asked to use the bathroom and he hit me, she said, what? She said, you have an open CFS case because you asked to use the bathroom? I said, She looked at him and said, why she couldn't use the bathroom? Well, I have to write this, and all this other dumb shit. She said, what? So now he's bringing up a girlfriend. Come to find out, he's fucking one of my little sister's friends that I've known since she was in the 10th grade and my sister and my mother knew about it. So now I'm going through, I hadn't seen my kids in 120 days. From October 2nd, actually since September 29th. Since April 9th up until January 6th, I hadn't seen my children. Then I later found out they stormed in my son's school demanding that they tell them something bad about me. And when she couldn't find shit on me,
who went to school with him?
the social worker. When they couldn't get them to tell them shit bad, the only thing she could make me look bad when I went to court was what? Telling him to press charges on me. Then my mother, when my oldest son's dad called my mom to tell her I was in jail, her and my sister get to talking shit about me. Oh, she got a bad attitude and this, and all of that. And ain't no bitch gonna call me and tell me if my son attacked her. Okay, bitch, he attacked you, but where you at? There's no solidarity, there's no unity, there's no loyalty. So, and I'm able to talk about this because this is what I'm trying to get off my chest for real. Because it's been a very hard process and a lot to endure.
Yeah.
Like, I see my children on Fridays. I see them today. And when I first seen my oldest son, like 3 weeks ago. It was hard because he was like, you know, I'm like, come on, you know, I put your coat on, we gotta go. He like, shit, I'm coming home with you. And I'm like, no, you can't come home with me. And he was like, well, why? And to see my 5-year-old cry and sit on my lap and have a whole tantrum of why he can't come home, that shit tears me up. My visits last until 6, but I always get them ready and downstairs before 6 because I feel like if I get you gone before, if I leave before 6, it's like I ain't never been there and I ain't gotta feel so fucked up. And then I feel like my baby has a detachment towards me because I haven't been around him in 6 months. He'll be 1. So to feel that he don't know me, that disconnect, that shit is hurtful in its own right.
Like, and it's fucked up that people are just out to fuck with you, and just in terms of not either wanting to be with you or because they're not even dealing with their own demons to even just try to destroy.
But that's the thing, like, you know, people don't like me because I'm me, and I understand that you ain't gotta like me, but don't fuck with my children.
Yeah.
Because the only way you can fuck with me is through them. You can't beat my ass. You're not gonna whip my ass. You cannot do anything with me because everything I am, I got this shit by myself. Ain't nobody gave me shit. I ain't had nobody hand me nothing. I don't work for all this shit. I don't work hard. I've worked hard to get to where the fuck I'm at. So, because you feel like I'm better than you, you said that shit, not me. Motherfucker don't know how many times I was so fucking close to sitting in that CMHA line to get a motherfucking project, but I had enough fire up under my ass not to. I'm the only person in my family to not ever live in the projects. I take pride on that shit. But other motherfuckers think, oh, you think you better. No, bitch, you do. You can have the same fucking choice. You just choose not to. So, when I tell y'all, this is probably one of the most hardest times of my life. This is why but not only am I fighting for my freedom, but I'm fighting for my children.
Pray that you overcome this because when you do, I'm gonna put that in the air. When you overcome this, you gonna feel like you gonna feel unstoppable. Like, cause this, again, I really wanna cry. Like that is, especially what you just said about your about to be 1-year-old. Like,
Oh yeah, that
that
you know
hurt. Cause I was thinking that before you. Instead of like, bruh,
you. When I tell you, I was crying before I got here because I'm just so frustrated. And I've reached the point where it's like I know it's almost over. But when shit is almost over, that's where it hurt the most. And it's like you almost over that hurdle, but that shit take a lot out of you. Like I was supposed to be done with my drug class January 24th, but because my weed took a little bit more time to get out of my system, I had to go a little bit longer. So it's a lot. And it's a lot to deal with. Like, and this is the first time like I'm ever talking about this shit. So it's a lot. Like, and I'm just saying it's a lot.
Yeah, I know it is.
You know, and I deal with this shit on a daily basis.
And you're still going through it now. So it's not, you haven't had
So
time
this-
to fully.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this shit ain't even over with.
Yeah, you still gotta go through, and you don't know what hurdles gonna come next. Hopefully, there are no more, honestly, but you never know what type of game someone else is gonna try and play. So it's like you said, you're going through a lot right now, honestly. And
Yes.
it's you are strong. I'm gonna say, just know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I had as soon as I had got my place, right? I got my place October 9th. I left my car October 5th. Somebody hit my car, totaled my car. And I wasn't in a position to give me another one. I ain't taking the best. I work all the way in fucking East Cleveland. So I had to Uber and Lyft back and forth to work for almost 2 months. Every time I would try to get a car, in between that time, just weren't working for me. So I got up the day before Thanksgiving, like I ain't going to bed till I get me my phone. I told the motherfuckers I ain't got no money. And actually, I didn't. All I had was $300 and something. I got behind on my bills because I had to make sure I got to work. I left there with a 2018. And the only thing I had to pay for was full coverage insurance. Different. I knew the energy was shifting. Later, I started some classes. Used to fuck with me, you know, call me aggressive, call me passive aggressive and all this dumb shit. And then I used to have to tell him, like, you don't even know what it's like to be me. Like, don't call me some medical fucking term.
Yeah.
Until you done walk these size 11s, which you were a fucking size 9. You know, you're not in my shoes.
Yeah.
So don't try to tell me how I'm supposed to feel. So he began to like me because I'm a likable person. But like I tell him, just don't fucking piss me off.
Okay.
Just don't make me angry. And I can and I'll be your best friend, but if you make me mad, I can be the most fucked up individual to you. And the fact that both of my sons' dads, they're bitter. You bitter because you couldn't cut it as a man. I did my part. I tried. I tried to be the woman that you needed, you wanted. I tried to stick it out. I tried to do my part. But because you bitter, don't try to hurt me through my children, because that's the only way. That's the only way somebody gonna hurt me. I don't give a fuck about nothing else. Because that's how detached I am. I don't give a fuck about nothing. If it ain't about them two Negroes I birthed, I don't give a fuck. It's nothing that close to me that's gonna hurt me. So the fact that you feel that you could try to strip me from something that came from me, that in itself is a depression. You know, I got so stressed out behind this shit that it gave me severe headaches. It gave me severe chest pains to the point where one time I was scared to go to sleep because I didn't even think I was gonna wake up, because that's how stressed out I was. And I'm dealing with this shit sober.
Yeah. You even got a little medicine to help you out. Shit. You let you drink a little bit?
No, you can't do
you
nothing.
Oh
You
my
cannot do
gosh.
anything when you're in a substance abuse class or program,
Yeah.
because they test you for everything. So you can't do shit. Then we was on a color code system. So they gave us a color. So every day we had to call this hotline, and if it said your color, regardless if you had to be there that day or not, you had to go drop urine. And if you didn't, that counted as a positive.
Oh, that you were positive. Wow.
Even if you wasn't.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Look for Iconic, a self-made woman. It'll be out very soon.
Now, how are you want to release it? Is it going to be in books or not in books? Is it going to be? That's the lateness talking. Is it going to be online? Do you want to have it in the bookstores or?
Actually, I'm working on getting. I could have been hers actually in East Cleveland's public library.
Really?
Yes, it is. I'm working on getting them that first book fluctuated through the public library system in general. Iconic, I'm actually going to have a book release for that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to get those fluctuated in the public libraries as well.
Yeah.
And then I actually sell them on Amazon, and then I actually sometimes have books on hand as well. So it's just, this is a complication of
I got
things.
you. Yeah, no, beautiful. Yeah,
It's
beautiful.
all gonna fall into place when it's supposed to, man.
Yes.
For real. But something, when you was talking about the book, the first book, something told me to say this, but you should make a movie.
Actually, the funny part about this is I am going to make a movie.
That would be good.
And it's going to be a lot more vivid. See, the first book, I just grazed on topics and situations. I didn't get in great detail. The movie is actually going, like, It's gonna be the opposite, because most books are more vivid, and then the movie is not so graphic.
Yeah.
But the movie is gonna be way more graphic, and I'm gonna put a visual to it, because how I write, you can actually visualize what I'm talking about, even though you ain't never been there at the scene or know who I'm talking about or nothing. So the movie is actually gonna be deep, and I'm trying to get like. I'm trying to get this like in actually like big movie theaters. Like I don't want to do no sloppy shit.
Yeah.
Like
I
want it to be very big. So that's the goal.
Yes, you should definitely. Because I would love to watch that. Yeah. I would love that.
I'm just listening to them. Just like, I want to see that.
Oh, it's some juicy. Listen, baby, it's some juicy shit.
Don't wait, go back to the what part because I want to.
Oh, it's some juicy shit. Like when I was in high school, I got jumped twice. I beat up 4 bitches by myself in the classroom. Oh yes, baby.
That sounds like a real good season of the Bad Girls.
Man, what? I am the original bad girl.
Right.
Yes. I was a bad girl before it was a bad girl. So yes, but I do thank you guys for having me tonight.
No, thank
Oh
you.
my God, so much for coming on and telling your story.
Girl.
We enjoyed you.
For real. Like, girl. Got me in my feelings.
No,
she got me in my feelings. Like, I'm listening to her story. I'm trying to find baby daddy. I'm trying to find.
You trying to figure out who everybody is.
Because I want to work with everybody. Don't bring me to the court. Because I'll be there with the guns. And are we done or are we finished?
Or trio.
Or trio. Y'all can meet me outside.
Look, cash me outside, bitch.
Oh my God. The judge too.
Look, if she fucked me, she played me though. Like that shit alone.
Goodness, cause it's just this, woo, girl.
But it's a lot more deeper than that. But that's just to give you guys an overlook of what I'm dealing with right now.
It's an idea.
I done died like 3 times. I had to look at one thing. You was so calm. You was just like, you was on the couch like, oh.
I'm just listening
like,
damn.
Like this is soap opera.
Like,
no soap
she
opera.
said she
No,
I'm
I'm envisioning everything you're saying, and that's what's making me. Cause I just keep staying in my head like she don't want to see me cry. Like I gotta just listen. Cause like if I was in your shoes for real, I don't want it. You know, just for real. I could have been. I could have been her. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm thinking to myself like, girl, I don't know if I could have fit you. I probably would have been fucked up somewhere. Like, you know what? Just leave me the fuck alone.
I mean, I got to that point though. Like, I got to that point where I isolated myself, and even right now, I'm in isolation. Like, I changed my number. I had the same number since I was 21 years old. I changed my number, and for me to change my number, and I had so much shit connected to that number, like hair, my clients from years ago. For me to change that was like a big thing. Like I needed change. It was growth.
Yeah.
So, you know, right now my phone don't even ring because nobody has my number because I feel like I don't. People on the outside looking in, they have no idea what's going on. You know, nobody knows what I'm going through. And when I'm ready to talk about it, I'm going to bring light to it. But, like I said, this is the first time that I'm actually speaking about this shit. So, all I can say is, watch who you have children with. Don't ever take it for granted, and be appreciative, because I was so stressed out that I actually told them, like, I just wish y'all stayed with y'all dads, because I was so stressed out because I was staying with my cousin. She really didn't want us there. I was going through a lot. My heat went out in my car. The car that I told you that got messed up. So it was just a lot. Like, I was trying to find a place. I was dealing with a 6-month-old baby. It was a lot for me to be having 2 kids because shit, I'm just used to being me and my one son. You know, when it happened the first time and I lost my place, it took me 60 days. You know what I'm saying? I said, shit, look, bitch, we'll be here 30 days tops, that's it. And when I said we was out, he kicked us out September 9th, October 9th, I had my own place again. So I expected that the same transition was going to happen, but I never thought that I was going to lose my people. Because they all I got.
Yeah.
You know, I go hard for them. You know what I'm saying? I became a better woman and a better mother. Not saying I was ever a bad woman or ever a bad mom, but I wanted to be better. You know, my goal was for them to be like, shit, Ashley, my mama did it. Like, she the shit. Like, that bitch crazy, but that's my nigga. Like, she gonna ride for me. So, it was just, I never thought that this would happen to me. Because I'm such a great mom. You know, I would never abuse my children. I would never put them in a situation where it's been times where it was just me and my oldest son, and I didn't have enough money to take care of myself. I wore the same pair of leggings for a whole year straight because I couldn't afford to do anything for myself. But if you looked at my baby, you couldn't tell he was fucked up because he had what he needed. You know, I sacrificed a lot. You know, my oldest son, he's autistic. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't speak until he was 3, you know, and I had to take him to speech for 2.5 years. You know, I lost a lot. You know, I sacrificed a lot. You know, I didn't learn how to drive till I was 25. You know, nobody seen me getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, walking him to daycare, a Buckeye by myself, and hopping on a bus at 6:30, trying to get to work by 7:30 just to make sure we was okay. Nobody seen them struggles. Nobody seen me going through the shit that I was going through because I didn't care for you to see it. But don't ever try to deem me as no fucked up ass mom, because you can call me what you want, but you ain't gonna never say bad and mother in the same situation, because I pride myself on that. My son called me Princess Ashley. You know, that's my best friend. I could never hurt him. That was a gift to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I told y'all, my auntie, she told me that's my gift, so I could never fuck that up. So for a motherfucker to ever try to make me seem like to be fucked up, or I hurt him, or I hurt my other child, that shit alone hurt. So,
Girl, no, for real, she don't have me looking all today.
But I had her fight tonight. Shit.
Go home and just hit him in the face.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was thinking right in my mind too.
No black
He's
pen.
sleeping. I'm like,
You gonna go back to
punch me
play
in the
sleep?
face. I did.
I did. Just to let you know, don't play with me.
Don't play with me.
But no, Ash, I want to say thank you for coming on. We
Thank
definitely
you.
appreciate it. It definitely was, just a good experience in terms of you being able to talk with us and get some of the things out, and just even hearing it. Like, we all never know what people go through, and
Yes.
you definitely, like you said, those some strong 11s.
baby,
I don't know
what?
who the fuck wearing them, but you wear them out. So I appreciate you just even hearing it more, like, you know.
I'm gonna pray. I've already prayed for you while you was telling us this story, and I'm gonna pray for you again. I'm going to pray for you. I want you to win that and be done, boo. Cause girl, I will be at that court.
She gonna be dressed in all black.
Look,
Ready to go at
and the
ass.
crazy part is, guess what color I wear every time I go to court?
Black, I'm guessing.
I'm a black baby.